Welcome to Shakespeare FC, The Words, a 5-minute journey into the individual bits of language that were forged, fletched, hewn, and hammered, and sometimes crowbarred, into existence by our brilliant and witty Warwickshirean wordsmith, or, as you become more familiar, Uncle Will. I'm your host, Kari Marshall. What do a field full of cattle and a tyrannical Scottish king have in common? At first glance, not much, except perhaps bovine bloviations. One spends its days quietly chewing the cud. The other has spent 5 acts stabbing and cudgeling his way through regicide, supernatural consultation sessions, and making increasingly poor life choices. And yet, they are connected by a single word. A word that has wandered in from the pasture, so far from its origins that most of us scarcely notice the journey. Today, if someone is cowed, they're intimidated, bullied, reduced to silence by fear. But the audience at the Globe would have heard something more physical lurking behind the word, something large, something potentially dangerous, something with horns. And when our fair uncle first puts it to work, he's not talking about beasts of burden. He's talking about what happens when one is overcome by intimidation, or burdened, if you will. By Act 5 of Macbeth, King Duncan is dead, Banquo is dead, and Lady Macbeth has sleepwalked her way toward self-hygienic tragedy. And Macbeth himself has been transformed from decorated war hero into a paranoid tyrant, desperately clinging to power through escalating violence and vaulting ambition. More on that in Series 13, Episode 6. Unfortunately for him, the witch's promises are beginning to show the worrying loopholes that are usually associated with Faustian deals with the devil, or pronouncements by blind Greek oracles. The English-backed forces of Malcolm are advancing. Birnam Wood appears to be moving, and Macduff, carrying a sackful of righteous fury brought on by Macbeth murdering his family, is closing in. In the final battle of the play, Macduff has cornered Macbeth on the battlements. Our ever-defiant eponymous eviscerator scoffs at the incensed Macduff, relaying to him that the witches assured him that no man born of woman would be able to defeat him. It is here that our fair uncle uses a medically semantic loophole. Macduff reveals that he was, quote, from his mother's womb, untimely ripped. A cesarean section, in other words. So technically, he wasn't of woman born, exactly, and Mackers doesn't take the news at all well.
Cursed be the tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of man. And be these juggling fiends no more believed that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ear and break it to our hope.
The noun cow is ancient, either coming from the Old English cu, cu, itself descending from the Proto-Germanic roots that stretch deep into the linguistic pasturelands of Northern Europe. But we also find ku, K-U-E, grazing around the pastures of ancient Denmark, which originally meant to subdue. So though people have been naming cows for a long time, the verb is something different. In William's day, the verb had emerged as a vivid metaphor. To cow someone was to make them shrink, to rob them of courage, and Macbeth, standing at the very edge of defeat, refuses. Everything else has deserted him, his allies, his prophecies, his certainty, but ironically, not his nerve. The man who spent the entire play cowing everyone around him finally encounters someone he cannot cow in return, Macduff. And that changes everything. It's what happens when, and I'm going to apologize in advance for this, an irresistible force meets with an immovable object. Sorry. Well, alas and alack, my friends, that is all we have time for. Join us again next time for another hopefully informative journey into the mind of Uncle William. I'm Kari Marshall. Farewell until next time.
Shakespeare Full Circle is a production of WGTE Public Media and is sponsored in part by the generous support of the Cowie Family Charitable Trust and Michelle and Kelvin McElwain. All previous episodes are available at wgte.org/sfc and wherever you get your podcasts.